Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located, and welcome back to day 5 of our Microsoft Azure learning for 7 days. And today our topic is Azure Database Services, and in which we are going to learn about like what kind of relational databases and NoSQL database as well as analytics services or analytics databases are available. So before starting, I would like to again say that please comment whether are you able to see me and hear me properly, and take your notepad also, because couple of things I always advise to write, which you can research later and it will be helpful, because I am also very minimalistic presentation guy. So I'm always trying to share more and more whatever I have understand and I have learned. So it will be always helpful to prepare and some homework, because these all topics are very big and it's not possible everything to cover in an hour, but I'm trying my best to share, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from all of you guys. Really appreciate, and the people who are sticking for every day, I really appreciate you guys. So let's get started, and as always the presentation will be published after the session, and the link will be I will put in the description, and all the previous days videos it is already up and running on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, please share in your circle so that everyone can learn. So let me share my presentation and we will start with today's topic. And let me share it and see that. Okay, this is the presentation, and I'm going to share the display here, and I believe everyone is able to see the presentation also. So let's get started. So today's our agenda, as I mentioned, is database services, and we are going to start with these couple of topic. I'm going to explain like what kind of database services are available, give you the small walkthrough, and then we will focus on the Azure SQL database service and its surrounding components like Elastic Pool and Manage Instance, and then we will focus on Azure Cosmos DB. And again, as always, I have a couple of demos, and I will perform some demo, and I will try to show that how things are working here, how it is nowadays easy to spin up database at a scale. And then we will talk about the Azure Synapse, which is previously known as SQL Data Warehouse Service, which is OLAP service for the analytic processing engine. So I will touch upon that part because that is an awesome service which Microsoft rebrand and come up with lot of new capabilities. So let's get started. And oops, and before that, just setting up a ground, I believe we everyone know about that. What are the databases? What are especially the relational databases? Because it's not new in the market. It is in the market, and we are using it from last 3-4 decades. It's nothing new, but it is every day or every time it is enhancing lot of new capability. Because let's say maybe 20 years back we have a very less data and we have a very less user base, but now everything going in millions and billions of users and transaction per day. And according to that, all these enhancements are going on, and Microsoft also coming with its awesome homegrown product MS SQL, which I believe again everyone heard and somehow used in your career, in your even student life. So that is where the databases are. And first we will talk about the relational database, and it is something that very important and a mission critical for our business, for our application, whether it's a web based application or some internal only client server architecture application, or maybe some ERP, or it be it at any scale, databases are always involved, right? So as the things are going in a bigger way, things are getting distributed also. Previously it happened that on a single database you can perform the both OLAP and OLTP. OLTP is a transactional database in which like we do the real-time transaction read and write, and it is a read heavy and write heavy also, you can say. but OLAP is something for reporting purposes, and that is majorly on the read heavy, where we need to create, let's say, some historical reports also, and we can perform on the single database engine. Even MS SQL support all those kind of things. Till date it supports a transaction as well as the data warehouse services. If you know about MS SQL analysis services, MS SQL reporting services, all these are very famous for the on-premises world, and it is available on cloud also, and Microsoft is providing everything as a separate dedicated service, so that we can take the advantage more and more about the power of Microsoft infrastructure, how they build their data centers and region, and the power of network they are having. Plus the security is a wrapper around everything. So there they are trying to push all those things. So Microsoft come up with Azure SQL database, which is a fully managed Azure SQL of their latest version on Microsoft Azure. Even on some other cloud it is available, but it is not that much mature or that much compatible with Microsoft Azure, because again, as it is Microsoft Azure homegrown service, other clouds are providing in form of infrastructure as a service as well as platform as a service. But you will see the difference while we will perform the things in our demo, right? And another thing is, it's not only about the manage why the managed services, because if you installed SQL in your machine, so you know how it is, very much complex, I can say, that you need to configure. And especially when it comes to make highly available, and you need to put all those backups, point in time restore kind of things, it is bit tough or a bit again complex. For that, surely experience is required. So that is where this Azure SQL database is trying to solve the problem. And installing a Azure SQL database itself a time consuming task. So this we will see in our demo how quickly things will be up and running. And again, we have a good amount of scale and good amount of configuration, which consists of the vCore as well as the RAM as well as the storage part, and we can scale it as quickly as possible according to our load requirement. And they are coming in a multiple flavor of serverless as well as infrastructure as a service and a purely PaaS, a platform as a service model. So we are going to touch all of these things here. A couple of things I found, like people are having confusion that Azure SQL database is not the same what Microsoft SQL database. Yes or no, because it's a relational database and it is following the same table. We need to create our table. We need to put all those things, joins, queries, primary key, foreign key. All those things are working here. Only thing is we don't have any operating level system access. We can't do the RDP and play with the machine and all those things. We need to set up a proper our firewall rule to access these things. And here the beauty of platform as a service and infrastructure as a service come into picture. When we will get such kind of service, obviously we need to give some to take some flexibility, we need to lose some flexibility also. And a couple of DB admin people will not like such kind of thing, because due to platform as a service, some kind of functionality also got missed. And it's true, you can check the documentation. Microsoft is trying to cover and providing all those feature as soon as possible, but it is not the same what you will get on infrastructure as a level, because you will get the operating system level access and you can tweak couple of things from your side. But here it is something the Microsoft is giving you the full out of the box package to utilize, and few things is not in our control, that is fully controlled by Microsoft. But in that exchange, we are getting something which is tough to set it up on infrastructure as a service. So a few things I mentioned, like automated backup as HA, and even for the global replication, let's say for the read replica something, we have the flexibility to quickly configure, and we can set it easily. And as I mentioned, it is always the latest version of MS SQL. It is not that we can choose that we want that MS SQL 2012, 2014, 16, 17, 19. It is always up to the latest one. Microsoft rolled out their whenever they roll out their new version. So Azure SQL is also getting the same flexibility, all those new features which is available in their infrastructure as a service, or for the downloadable or running it on premises version. But yeah, couple of functionality is missing. You can refer to the documentation that what is missing or what kind of functionality is still not available. But overall, yes, it is good to go. It is not that we will ignore. It is very specific use case where this will not fit and where you need to opt for the infrastructure based MS SQL. But I can say out of 190 cases, this will fit best because this is solving a lot of problem and easy to scale. All those beauty stuff is here, right? And then coming to the attached part of this SQL DB service is Elastic Pool. Elastic Pool is something that, because before even Elastic Pool, let me explain that how the SQL work in Azure SQL service. So there are two things we need to remember. One is the server, one is a database, right? So server is a logical container which will give us the endpoint to access, and at server level, or again the logical server level, we will put our firewall rules or all those accessibility pattern, that who can access from where, and all those whitelisting of IP and virtual network. Database itself is the database which will reside in that logical container. Let's say I create a one demo database, so that will be the database which will reside inside my this SQL server logical container. And at a database level, we will define our configuration of computing power and everything, which we will see in our demo. And that is where this thing come of Elastic Pool collection come into picture. It is something that, because that single logical container can host multiple databases, and if you want that one single configuration of computing power will be shared between multiple databases, and you can specifically define that how much dedicated power can be provided to each of these database. Let's say one is a development database, one is a production database. You want that from the overall server dedicatedly 90% will be always with the production one, and 10% will be the 10% will be the development one. Because if you have not configured something like that, it may happen that you run something heavily on database development database, and it will started, let's say, half of the server resources from your overall configuration, and maybe a production may hit some kind of concerns and some kind of slowness. The queries may fail or queries will take some time. So Elastic Pool is a concept which is a beautifully provided by Microsoft Azure, and I don't see such kind of thing is available on any other cloud. That is the beauty of Microsoft homegrown own product. And another part is the cost saving here, because let's say setting up a development server, again we need to put another configuration, another computing power, which may we don't want. And it is something that there are multiple pattern Microsoft is showing where this Elastic Pool collection will come into picture. So we will explore in our demo about this. Another is manage instance. So manage instance is something which is, first of all, one of the most expensive offering. It is the same infrastructure as a service, but as I mentioned, that it is bit tough to manage, bit tough to you really need to know about the SQL administrator, the administration work, that how to configure that always on availability group, always on group, and how it will make sure that failover will happen, replication, backup, and everything. So Microsoft come up with a service of name as manage instance for MS SQL, which is something that it is the same everything. Again, you will have the access to OS level, but still it is managed by Microsoft Azure and Microsoft team for the availability and It is something you can say lift and shift migration. Let's say your company is planning to move, and again you figure out that you don't want to opt for the PaaS based service, but the same, Apple to Apple kind of comparison service. So managed instance for MS SQL is a way to go kind of service here, for which you can easily move to your on-premises database, or maybe possible to from some other cloud to Microsoft Azure. And Microsoft is also providing a service name database migration service, which will be helpful to migrate a database from on-premises to cloud, or some even other database. It will give you the proper report what need to be changes, let's say some kind of store procedures, views, triggers, and if that is available in not, or that is directly not compatible with the target database, so it will give some kind of report and you can work out something, the schema. Sometime it need to be manually changed, sometime the tool will automatic change, so you can search about that database as your database migration service. And now, as I mentioned, there are two objects. One is a logical database server, and one is a database object itself. And now this is a bit confusing part, because previously Microsoft only offer a single flavor for the configuration name DTU based. So it was from the initial days of Azure SQL service, which is very confusing, and even I got a lot of queries. I was not able to understand couple of years back. So Microsoft mentioned in their documentation that for the how many DTUs is a underneath core, and memory is there, and DTUs are the fixed based something, that it is something that we can jump from only from the one level, something like let's say 100 DTU to 200 to 500, and our storage will also be increased with the multiplication of that. Like it's a fixed package we need to select, and according to that we will get charged. But then Microsoft now come up with the vCore based or vCPU based offering, where we can decide I want like 4 vCPU and 32 GB of memory, and let's say 1 terabyte of storage. So it is where the values are adding more in the Azure SQL service itself, and Microsoft is providing this thing very beautifully. And another thing is hybrid benefit, which is something that if you already have a license and you are utilizing, you don't want to pay for that license more, or you don't want to buy another license, even it is a pay as you go, but you want to utilize your existing license, or you utilize your existing investment on Microsoft product. That is where the hybrid benefit come into picture, because that can apply on the vCore base. The documentation is given clearly, like how many vCores are considered for how many license required for that. You can refer that, you can learn more about that. One important thing I forgot to talk about in compute day, just quickly I want to cover. Microsoft Azure is the only platform which supports Windows operating system license on VM base. That is a very important thing, guys. Windows operating system license or OS level license on VM, right? Most of the cloud or other clouds are not supporting, because for applying the operating system license, it need a visibility to the physical socket layer, socket level. That is where the other clouds are providing some some dedicated host, or such kind of or sole tenant, so that a customer will have access to that level of physical socket, and according to that license can be applied. But here Microsoft is giving, we can even migrate our Windows operating system license, and it is called as hybrid benefit for the operating system. While creation of the VM for Windows, it will ask if we have a license, so that license cost will be removed, and our price will be only purely on the compute, which is consist of a vCPU and memory base. So that is a very important stuff here. And the same with this thing for Azure SQL, we can migrate our our license, and we can start using, and we will pay only for the compute part, not for any extra licensing part. And serverless model, I believe serverless everyone aware about nowadays. It's a very big buzzword, and we are utilizing it in many different flavors, like a function. I tried to explain it day before yesterday. So about the functions, how it will work, and here it is also offering that we can select that for how many cores something we have required, and the minimum core and the maximum core. According to that, our this serverless Azure SQL also run, and whenever no query is happening, it will be in inactive state and we will stop paying. It may be expensive at a first glance than the normal Azure SQL pass, because we need to put some upper limit and lower limit, and we need to pay according to, like, maybe for a time of a day, maybe something it is going at a peak level, so it will charge for that higher core, and it is something that we really need to calculate before proceeding. And the beauty is, when there is no load, let's say the evening time, there is nothing, or especially in the case of development, so it will down, there will be no charge for all these things. But yeah, keep remember, it is not that millisecond kind of charges, it is maybe around about a minute or an hour. So keep remember that how this will work. It is a very new model. Even I am also exploring this, not fully explored and not work heavily on the serverless model, but just want to share such kind of service for, especially for MS SQL. SQL is there, right? So this is something, the elastic pool I was talking about. This is the diagram. I took it from Microsoft Azure documentation. Let's say there are four databases, and we put it in our that logical server container, and you can see we can define, and we can put even we can define that which database we can give the more power or DPUs. Let's say database one is little bit highly on the this timeline, and we want that it will consume most of the power, so we can define it is easily. We will see this thing in demo. So let's go again. Couple of quick feature: point in time restore, active replication, geo replication is there. As again, coming to the again infrastructure part, or how the design of physical data center. That is why I'm very much putting focus on that part, because until unless you will not understand how the Microsoft designed their data center, their geography, and how the region pair, all these things work, maybe these kind of concepts will confuse. So try to understand from that level. That is the first step. I always say the first step to know about how the infrastructure is designed, then the services comes later. So auto failover is something that in case of one will down, Microsoft will take care and quickly turn it to the replica one, and promote it to the master and all those things. And again, geo redundant database, where zone redundant databases, wherever the availability zone come into picture, these kind of things are there. And SLAs are given, that is the highest level SLA for the MS SQL you will get in cloud, 99.995%. So keep remember all these things. It is helpful to design your own journey about Microsoft Azure and what kind of databases are there. So before even that, I would like to talk little bit about, it's not only the MS SQL, because one confusion and one kind of myth is always that Microsoft support, it's only homegrown technology and it's only for the Microsoft product. But there are other things are also available in the same PaaS flavor or managed flavor, and you will see. And in the portal, I will just quickly show about for Azure database for MySQL, Azure database for Postgre, as well as MariaDB, as well as manage Redis cache as a database is also available. So it is not that those kind of things we need to install by our own. Again, yes, possible on the infra level, on the VM level, if you want master slave read replica configuration, if you're comfortable to manage all those complex stuff, and if you understand how the synchronization will work, how you can make sure your master will be up and running, backup, and all those things, feel free to opt for that. But if you are looking for the platform as a service, you want to not manage all those things, you want Microsoft will manage on your behalf. So MySQL, Postgre, as well as Maria and Redis is always there, and they release it two to 3 years back. Previously, in I believe in 2016, it was not there, but in 17, 18, they started pushing all those things as a managed service, and things are getting mature. More and more features are there, so it can be a good option to move your lift and shift for your existing MySQL, Postgre, and MariaDB. And again, Azure DB migration tool can help easily, right? So this is bit about the RDBMS part, and let's come to the Cosmos DB, which is the planet scale, fully managed, global distributed, no SQL database. They have released again, I believe, 2 to 3 years back, and it is, you can say, much higher version of Azure Table. Yesterday I talked a little bit about Azure Tables, which is a key value store. Here it is also following the document database, not the key value, but the document database. And it has an analytics capability because it is supported out of the box this Jupyter notebooks. And the people who are into the deep learning and machine learning, they knows about Jupyter notebook heavily. People are relying on that. So this thing also supported, because this is where their Microsoft is pushing about their this homegrown planet scale database, and they are giving lot of SLAs and guaranteed around the read and write in couple of less than, you can say not less than, but near about 10 millisecond, or they are giving some kind of percentile guarantees here. And it is scaling very heavily, very fast. So if you are planning to use the NoSQL database, you can surely think about this product. And this come up with the different flavor. They have a different kind of APIs, like the Mongo compatible, Cassandra, Gremlin for the graph API. Azure Table is again also inside supported in that, as well as the SQL Core API, which is directly a document database. And by default, it's a SQL Core API is a default one, but you can choose if you are comfortable with Mongo kind of style, and Cassandra if you are looking for the Cassandra. So those all things are compatible here. And there are some consistency option which we need to be aware. There are 5 consistency option Microsoft is giving in their database. So we need to know about like what is the strong consistency and eventual, and other 3 are there, which will depend like how our read will happen, how our how our flexibility, how our this kind of agility and scale will happen. So consistency option is the important part in such kind of databases. Again, these are fully managed. We don't need to interact with any kind of server infrastructure. It is majorly we need to design our partition key, how our things are going to store. Partition key, you can say, maybe compare it or correlate it with the primary key of RDBMS world. So something try to do that. So partition key is an important part here, and it will design and it will try to store your data on the different physical location, or let's say the logical container, so that there will be no hotspot while heavy read. So these are the things which will you will get as I explained about the SQL, Cassandra, Gremlin APIs. And again, all those stored procedures, user defined function triggers, everything is supported. And we need to create this database, and it's a serverless one. We just need to define like what kind of, maybe some kind of power is required, which is known as request unit or RUs. According to that, this will perform. And we will see in the demo, we will create a one Cosmos DB quickly. And it also covers under free tier, which is giving a 5 GB of storage and 400 read unit. And one read unit is a 1 kilobyte of data we can read at 1 second. So this is where these kind of things come under the free tier. And feel free to play it with anyone. You can host your application and try to test this product. Really, the results are damn good for, and it scale at millions and billions of requests per second also. So I will highly recommend to try it once from your side. And we will create one database account which can consist multiple DB, and there will be a container. And container is something you can consider correlate with the table of RDBMS, and items are something you can say the rows of data. We will see this thing in our demo, right? Things to remember: the partition, as I mentioned, partition, you can consider this as a primary key for your table. And how this will work and how this will store on the logical and the storage part. partition, it depends on the partition key, and request unit is the unit of the power and the currency of this database engine. So guys, demo time. Meanwhile, you can drop your questions here. I'm always looking for the questions so that we can discuss more about that. It is always a good opportunity for learn from each other. So I'm going to start with the demo. I believe everyone able to see my portal, and let's first start with the SQL database service. Again, as always, you can search it from here. As I explained, there are the two different objects we need to focus. Uh, you can create first anything because it will ask for the option. So let's start again, and here before even that, let's little bit talk. If we select from the all services and the database category, you can see all those database services are here. So let's, before demo, quickly maybe a minute I would like to spend here. So data warehouse is something which we use for to create our the most clean data for our reporting purposes, especially the business decisions, and can be driven from these kind of reports. Let's say you have some kind of e-commerce store and you are collecting the data and you are collecting all those logs, and you want to see how the people are interacting with your website, and you have cleaned all those things and you have put it in the database, and this is a database engine which is specific for running a large queries, a large joins, and which can run maybe for minutes and hours, and it will give you the reports like what kind of result it will be able to find, and it may be petabyte scale, as well as billions of rows can be queried easily. And just to give you, it is something for the other cloud provider, Amazon Redshift, as well as the Google BigQuery. These are the famous name for the databases in the market, and again it supports star schema design as well as the Snowflake. So depend upon how you are going to structure your table and your data, your schema design depends on all those things, and you can use it. It comes with the real-time streaming of data, as well as it supports Apache Spark as a service, which is here known as a Databricks. So Azure Synapse Analytics is a very big, and I will surely cover this topic dedicatedly in our near future video, because I am also learning and I am really happy to see the result it is delivering at a scale, and I would like to share that learning also. So keep in touch, and again subscribe the channel so that you will always get notified whenever I will schedule such kind of things. And let's come to our topic of demos. So here you can see the Cosmos DB, MySQL, Postgre, Maria, and SQL Server. This is something we will cover today in our demo. Database migration service, data factories, you can say it's some kind of pipeline service, or intermediator. Let's say we want to migrate data from one place to, and we want to massage the data. So this kind of thing, especially in the case of big data, or big data kind of thing, this data factory come into picture, and this SQL managed instance is a managed infrastructure as a service. Still it's not a PaaS, or you can say it is lying between the PaaS and IaaS, but it is expensive one, and the quick lift and shift migration for your on-premises MS SQL, as well as SQL on virtual machine, which is purely the infrastructure as a service. We will see this later. So let's start with our this thing, SQL database. And in this account, again, I don't have right now anything. I'm going to start it from scratch, and as always we will create our resource group, which is the logical container, and I'm going to give some name, mydb. Again, the database name, it will be the your the connection string also. So make sure you will give a name which is suitable for you. And here it is asking like create the server. As I mentioned, we can create the server first and then put database inside that, or we can follow this route and it will ask to create a server. Let me create it quickly. So I want to create this server and giving a name, and this is something will be our string to connect, right? And here I am going to give I'm going to give a username and password. This is the admin level username password for this database server. Again, as always, I am bit okay. I think I am doing typo, guys. Really, I'm very bad in typing password. Let me see this time. Oh, okay, my luck happened, and here we can see the location. I am okay with East US. I'm going to select this, and this is our database name. That Chirag Nair is my database name, and this is my database server username password. And here Elastic Pool we will cover in our next demo. But let's start like how we can select our power for this Azure. So here you can see it is giving a different option, like what kind of, if a business critical, this is the latency and this much of IOPS we will get. Obviously for the production level, highly scalable, you need to really understand about all those things. And you can see this is the charging it is showing, and this is the beauty. It is showing that if we have already a license, we can opt for that, and obviously the charges will be reduced. Here you can just see I don't have any license with me, but just to showcase, let's say with no license, cost is the most expensive one here from overall the infrastructure, because we are selecting this 2 vCore and 32. But if I select, you can see sudden drop, and we will only pay for the infrastructure, and our license can be utilized here. So just read about all those things and you will get the idea and plan that how you can migrate your existing license even. But I'm going to the free one. Also, one important thing, under free tier, Microsoft Azure is giving 250 GB of space, 250 GB of space to use Azure SQL service. And here you can see this is a 250 GB space is free, and this is the DTU minimum. DTU as I mentioned, again it is some kind of mixture of vCPU and memory is fixed one. So we need to be select that tier. Let's say I want something 100 DTUs, I can put play with this slider, and according to this 100, it is giving me the capability to choose more storage. But here you can see it is not giving, because it's fixed with this some kind of the performance metrics and SLAs are there, so that is why it is playing like that. So even let's say under free tier, I need to pay only 15 USD to use MS SQL, and the storage cost will be included in our free tier. So if you are planning, feel free to use. Obviously this 10 DTU will be a very less power, but it may work for someone who is into the development and who is looking to put more data, and this can cover under this free tier. So I'm going to stick with that. Again, in the DTU also you can see it is giving till 4000 DTUs and 4 TB of space, where it is the limit. And you can see the charges are 16 grand, so it's a bit expensive, and that is where this vCore option may be much fit best. So let's stick with our minimal one. Even I will go with the basic, but that is very very low performant, only 5 DTU as well as the 2 GB of storage. I am going to stick with this 10 DTU, and because I'm going to delete after the demo, so it will cost me maybe few cents. So let's select that, and let's go to our networking. As I mentioned, there are services which is public zone. So this is also one which is the public zone. If I put it as a public endpoint, it is possible that it can be accessible from everywhere. But if I want to restrict it, let's say I want that it will be only accessible from my IP, so I can select here. It will automatically put that firewall rule here. And if I want some other services will access my this Azure SQL from the Azure backbone network, I can select this yes also. So because I don't have any other application hosted or application demo here, I'm going to okay with that, adding my client IP. Again, the private endpoint, I explained that if I want to put it in some kind of specific network, and it will get IP from my subnet range. I can even access it from my on premises if there is some VPN connectivity or express route. So all those things are here. So I'm going to okay. So yeah, private endpoint, again it is accessing it internally from the Microsoft backbone. So that thing getting the subnet IP is from the is a service name private link. So sometimes it's a bit confusing. So private endpoint is something that it will assign from our network, and it will only go through the Azure backbone network. The everything is privately. This public endpoint can be from the internet accessible also if we whitelist our IPs. So here it is asking if I have some data or backup from my storage and something, but I don't have any. I can use the adventure works sample database, and it will automatically put the sample data while creation. And the more into the security of, because there is security we are going to cover tomorrow, so stay tuned more on that, because a lot of features which will make our work easy and out of the box. So it is giving that if I want to put this server or this instance of SQL inside my security center, and it will cost something, but 30 days free trial is there. Tomorrow we are going to see that. So I'm okay with that, and I'm going to spin up. It will take couple of minutes, maybe around 2 to 3 minutes, and our database will be up and running, and we will be able to access our that Chirag Nayyar database, which will consist of this Adventure Works sample database, and we will able to see, we will able to do some kind of query. Let it spin and let's wait. Meanwhile, if there is any question, I see one question, and the question is very good one. You mean we can use the existing license while creating VM in Azure? Yes, we can use. This is the beauty of Microsoft Azure, because they are giving a flexibility. Maybe if time allow, I will show you a one quick blade while creating the Windows server. So we can use, even while creating this, they ask for if we have a SQL license with us, we can utilize the same. It is something same. It will give that if we have a Windows operating system license, again some catch is there. It need to be under software assurance plan or some kind of support. Better I suggest to read that what is software assurance, and because you can purchase a license from Microsoft without even software assurance, that will not comply under this scheme or this kind of flexibility if it is the software assurance, because software assurance give you the free of cost support, or the support and the new updates of the newer version of Windows OS is included. So all those things from the Microsoft licensing world is there. So if that thing comply your operating system license, you can feel free to use it with your Windows operating system. That is where it is called that hybrid benefit, so that your VM cost will be only same thing, same like what is your Linux operating system cost, like a free Linux, again not a Red Hat and SUSE, but let's say Ubuntu or CentOS. So that is where the cost will equivalent. As in this demo I also show, like the cost was $1,000, and when I select the yes for the hybrid the licensing part, and it come down to 400 something. So those all things are there. So let me see that it is spinning up. I have 2 3 more demos. I would like to show a quick demo on the Cosmos as well as MySQL part. So let's see. Meanwhile, let me take one more question. So Neeraj is asking how we will choose the existing license. Again, depend upon what license you have. You need to really aware whether it is under the software assurance or not, and depend upon what kind of license for, let's say, in the physical world of CPUs, how many cores your license is applicable. There is a beautiful guide provided by like what is the equivalent of that VM level and for the core level. That is where they Microsoft come up with this vCore concept for database or for MS SQL. You really need to know that, let's say you have a 2 vCore, whether the same will work on the same 2 vCore, or if it is something, maybe what is the equivalent of that 2 vCore, whether it is for the hyper threaded or the non hyper threaded core. So I always suggest to have a documentation on that part, because every use case is different, but generic one is, this is what I am trying to share, that we can check the vCore part. According to that, we can map with our Azure vCore and service, and if it comes under software assurance and valid software assurance is there, we can use. So our deployment happened. It took around 2 to 3 minutes, as we see, and here we can see we are with our database one. So this is, we are inside our database panel. So this is our that logical container we will see there, because here you can see we don't have any firewall kind of access and all these. This is database specific configuration, and connection strings are here. Everyone I believe know JDBC, ODBC kind of things, and we can use all those, and specific to PHP how the connection string can go, and more or less because Java and all those things will follow I believe in this category. So easily we can access it, because we can put our infrastructure application on app service as well as the VMs, right? So we can access it from here, or if let's say some Kubernetes cluster is going, so we need to make sure everything comes under the same network and we can utilize it. And beautiful thing is it is giving the query editor from here. Let me log in. Login is something that the admin credential which we have created. I am entering my super secret password, and here you can see this is a query editor, and it will show me my this sample database, and I'm just querying this 1,000 rows. And let's see, here you can see the query ran in a second, and we got our data from our sample database. If you know about this adventure works database, or you can learn it again from the Microsoft documentation, what are the schema design and everything with this thing. So I believe there is nothing in this table, and let's see if this query runs and what result it is giving. Okay, I think I need to make a run, and it is running from the product category, and it is giving us our result, that all those things. And feel free, if you have your own database which you can want to migrate and play it with, again as I mentioned, even you can go with the smaller D2 size which costs maybe $5, but this is a 10 D2 which is costing $15, and 250 GB of space is included. So we can explore more on that, but beautiful feature out of the box which I would like to really showcase here. Let me go it from SQL database, and here most important part, I would like to show the data masking. This is something that it will take couple of minutes, that it will read, or it will suggest every table and our schema, and we can do the masking from directly here. Masking is something is tough. Previously we need to really make sure how we can do this thing or that, or what table access we need to type a very, while creating a users at a SQL level, we need to make sure for which table a user can access, or what kind of rights it he or she need to has. Here from the this thing from the console, easily we can, it will ask us that which columns or which table columns we need to mask, and who can see, or who can see. We can even set, let's say, couple of admins can see, but apart from that couple of other users will not able to see. Let's say there was some product table in this sample database, and I don't want that everyone will be able to see the product or something, some sales number or something like that. So we can put all those kind of masking rule here. That is really awesome, I can say, out of the box service which is provided by Microsoft Azure for their SQL database, and I highly recommend to use all these. And TDEs are transparent data encryption, and even we can encrypt more on using the KMS, especially this data security. These are the feature. It will, if it is a part of our security center, it will continuously check if there is anything, uh, anything unusual is happening, and we can put our logs, and we can see, and we can query on our logs to see the users pattern behavior. If unusual things are happening, it will give us some alerts and all those things. So these are out of the box beautiful things are here. And the performance wise, these are the options it is giving, that automatically with the pattern, again those kind of machine learning things out of the box provided by Microsoft. It will give lot of insight that this need to be done, this is what we can change and all those things. And the geo replication part, if I want to set it up with some region pair, let's say I want my database will replicate to some West US region, and it will be only the read only, all those things, and I can create here easily. So right now it is here, and it is giving the option like where, let's say I want some central and the other multiple locations, it is possible from the Azure SQL database. So let's quickly talk about the Azure SQL level options also. So, okay, it's equal server level options because we have seen it from the database level. So here you can see it is giving the same, but yeah, the backup option we can do more on the point in time restore backup, and we can design our policy if we want to connect our Azure Active Directory user or sync. If we have already hybrid connectivity, all those things are possible. And the database, even as I mentioned, that multiple database can reside under this container. So it is possible. SQL Elastic Pool just going to cover in a minute or two. So all those things are here. Here it is something that firewall rule, that let's say I don't want that public network access, and only from this IP I can design. And if it need to be part of any virtual network, yesterday and day before yesterday, or sorry, in the networking class I showed about that how the virtual network work, and how our storage access was getting error because it was a part of the virtual network, and I was not able to see of my demo file and my PPT yesterday while putting in the storage container. The same thing with here also. If I put in some virtual network, I will not able to access. Yes, I need to explicitly deny and allow. That is also possible, but always recommended for the production. Connect it with your application so that everything goes through the private connectivity and the part of connectivity as the part of our network, right? So private endpoint, as I mentioned, that we can create, and it will only go through the Azure backbone, right? So tuning and everything, the recommendation, it will give us everything. Let's quickly configure the SQL pool. So let me configure it from here. Elastic pool, I'm going to quickly set. So here we can define, let's say I have 2 3 database. I want like one database will consume 50% dedicatedly from, let's say, from my DTUs. I want that from my 3 database, this my Chirag Naya database will consume 5 DTU dedicatedly. It will not shared with any of the other 2 databases. And I can configure for the other 4 for the second database, and 1 left for the third database. And even the time bound, all those kind of things I can configure easily. Let me see, Chirag pool, just giving, and I'm selecting the same server, and it is asking like what kind of thing. Here I'm just selecting that this, I was giving the example, but for here it is minimum of 50. Here it is, you can see even the 50 is the minimum one, but I'm okay. And I'm just putting this, and this will cost 120 apart from that 15. So this is a different service. It is not covering under free tier. I'm just going to quickly create this and trying to show that how this will work. And meanwhile we can see it is deploying. I just quickly want to show more on the next 2 options of Azure SQL database, which is here the manage instance and the virtual machine one. Virtual machine one is a quick one. Let's say I just want to quickly the database, and I can select it from here that which instance version I want. It will put it on the VM. I need to select the size. It will give me some estimated price, and here it is giving the option of bring your own license. BYOL mean is bring your own license. So we can see, like, let's say I want something free SQL server, so on Windows 2 2019, or all those things are easily available. Let's say I want to select this. I'm just going to click the create option, and I need to fill all those options. And here you can see again the redundancy part we covered in our compute section as well. As that is why I'm always trying to put a more focus on how the physical infrastructure design, how the networking is working here. So we can put that if we want the redundancy, all again the always on group, all those things. And here we can select the VM size. In the compute class I showed that, I highly suggest to watch a compute class also. You will get an idea what kind of these things are. So it is giving the option like what kind of the VM size I can select, and our database will be, or this instance will host our free MS SQL 2017 on Windows 2019 instance. Little bit longer while saying, but it is something. Let's say I want, this is the dedicated one, this is the this is the VM size on which our this thing will hosted, and we can access it again from the VM, and it is showing me the cost and all those things. And we need to make sure that 1433 is a port for MS SQL. We need to open it. So on that port this will work if you want to access it remotely, and if you want to access it with even your application, this 1433 will work. And here is also, here the question I got that about the license on the VM. Even here, because we have selected the VM, it is showing the option that if you already using a license, that is for the operating system, because here we are selecting the SQL license, guys, right? So this is the VM beauty for Microsoft Azure, that 49% with the license already, Azure hybrid benefit. Let's say if I own, it will surely, you can see it is started recalculating the price according to this vCPU and core, and it was 400 something, and now it is 278. And even you can try something with the same configuration for Linux VM, you will surely see somewhere number around that, right? Because simple scenario is, here we are using the developer edition, which is free of cost, so there is no license cost for SQL. This is a purely infra cost or the VM cost, because of I have selected this thing. And let's say I'm not doing this, here you can see 431, it will get increased. So I believe you get an idea about that, how this infrastructure as a service work and license and the costing makes a sense here. Let's quickly see the one another option. This is the manage instance that we want. Again, this is a one of expensive option. It is something going through the server part only, but very expensive one. We will see something. Let's say I want something. I want something in this region, and selecting again. I'm just choosing some name, and here it will surely show that what kind of price is, because this is a very new offering. So make sure that you aware that how this will work. Even you can see for the simple one, it is near about around 800 USD. And another thing is, the storage will be the addition of or the multiplication of this 32. So I will increase it, and it will be the multiplication, or the part of the incremental of 32 GB. So all those things are getting added, and in this also we will get that much amount of backup storage free. And here it is again showing, because it is a vCore base, we can utilize our the beauty of our existing license under software assurance. So these are the beautiful thing of cloud. Pay as you go is there, but utilizing your existing one on the newer infrastructure, like it's showing Gen 5, so it is having a very latest processor and very performant thing. Again, all those clouds are building their custom chips, so you can utilize and make sure things are here. And meanwhile, our elastic pool is ready. I believe these three options are clear, and let's go to see our elastic pool. Let me see if I'm able to see. Yes, here this is the elastic pool. It will show us the option that how we can configure. So for this elastic pool, if I want to add more, here I can put that if I have multiple database, that those databases will be the part of my this elastic pool. And here I can define that per database setting will be, let's say, only 10 DTUs or 20 and more. I can put into the, you can say, at a database level, like how it will get consumed and who will get more or less. So these are the basic ideas, guys, about all this SQL path service, which is a very beautiful and very cheap. Buying a license is a bit expensive. This is something that upfront investment and you need to put. And even running on the VM, you can see it may expensive or less. You just check that. But Azure SQL Pass is always a good service, I found. So let's go to the MySQL also. As I showed that MySQL, Postgre, and Maria is also available. So again, we can create it something, and it is supporting all those MySQL, famous version 5.6, 7, and 8.0. Again, we can set our configuration part. It is not supporting the DTU model, because DTU model is an older one and only specific to the Azure SQL PaaS service. It is also a PaaS one, but it is giving the option of selecting the core and backup, and if you want read replica in some other region, because MySQL work in a master slave and read replica way. So you can configure it easily, and your retention of your backup and all those things, it can go up to 32, and it will show all these things. So you can play and it will give you some kind of cost, right? So this is about the SQL, the Postgre and Maria is something like that. So now let's quickly cover, because we have a few minutes left, quickly cover about the Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB, I just want to show it from the free tier one. And this is a beautiful blade, and which will show what is free. So this is a free service for 12 months. Here you can see Cosmos DB, 5 GB of space and 400 request unit. So let's quickly create something, and we can see again on my name I'm just putting, and here it is showing that what API I required. I am really not going to do lot of thing here. I'm just going to stick with this core SQL. Here it is asking if I want some Jupyter notebook or not. Here giving a beautiful thing. Even if you create it directly via from the normal options or the direct route, it will obviously show this option that we will get this thing, right? And that can be enable only one account or this one subscription. Otherwise, this is the estimated amount which will get applied. And here, even if we want you do not apply, this is giving the option. And let's go with this time here. I'm not going to for the production uses, because you can see the toggles are playing. If the production users, it is giving option that multi-region write. That is a very important beauty of this product is you can write it from multiple location and read it from multiple location. Reads are from the multiple location are very common and very older concept, but writing simultaneously with the synchronization from the multi-region is something new kind of this cloud you know cloud born databases are providing more and more. So I'm not going for the production, and here again I want that all network can access, because it will give the API based access and the endpoint. So I'm okay with that. And that's all for creating the Cosmos DB. These 4 5 options I want to choose, because I have used select the free tier. That is why that 400 RU is already selected. Even that can change later. It is not that it is a fixed one. We can increase it after the creation of this Cosmos DB instance, and we can play, we can increase it, and we can see according to our requirement, and some other options can be tweakable. Meanwhile, let me see if our database is populated, and we can see something about our the masking thing. So I'm looking, still it is no recommended to mask. Let me see if it is showing. Oh, okay, I think I missed something that I need to put. That, let's say I want to mask here, but I found it will in couple of minutes it will surely show all of our columns here, and we can select and we can put the mask part. So let's wait again for a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, our Cosmos DB demo is going on. And if there is any question, guys, feel free to drop in the comments, because we are going to end maybe in another 10 minutes. So this is the last demo which I want to show. So let's wait. Our Cosmos is getting ready, and once this deployment is ready, and we will see that what are all the options are there. Again, you can explore more about that. Few things are covered under free tier services, so feel free to explore it from your side, guys. This is very important to learn anything, that until unless you will not put efforts and learning from your side, things will not fly. So try to understand, try to play. It will not cost anything but just your time and your energy to learn and to explore from your side. Go through some documentation. Lot of good videos are there. I always suggest to check the library. Meanwhile, this is creating. Let me show. So this is where I am also learning. I'm watching all those important section. Just these all videos are also available on YouTube channel of Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft Azure, or just search about Microsoft Ignite 2019. You will be able to see all those videos. So I'm always trying to search it from, let's say, because there are 1500 sessions but I want very specific to, all these database part, and it will give you what are all those basics, or how to move, and very specific. Let's say I want on the MySQL, or it will give some that, yes, that how we can deploy. These are very awesome good session. So I always recommend to go through and learn from all these things whenever your time allow, but important for your own learning in your work, for the production environment, because of lot of new features, the demos are here. So it is helpful to learn and work. So let's see if our maybe something error happened on my side, and let me see, it is giving some error, and I have no idea. Some high demand in this region that you can see, guys. It may happen in the cloud also, because of the current situation. The things are running at a very high scale and fully utilized, and it is, not able to fulfill my request because not having. But here it is showing some unknown status. Let us see if it is showing some options, but maybe from this, here I can trying to show something, especially I'm not able to click here, guys. So I suggest that you can try it from your side. Maybe for the free tier it's not available. Let me try quickly create, if it allows. Let me try quickly create the another one. Right, I want some different location. Let's select East Asia this time, and I don't want all these things. So I want, okay, I don't want to put it any network. Let me see, guys, if it is possible. I really would like to show this demo, because this is something an important part, and really this is where the beauty of cloud also come into picture. If the resources are not available in one region, that is where the global infrastructure come, and we can quickly create, again depend upon the compliance and data sovereignty, and that is where these region pair and all those things come into picture. Real demos always failed, so this is what my learning is also. So, and giving you giving you the idea of all those things. These are important. Things may fail, but the norm is build fast, fail fast, and recover fast, and troubleshoot fast. All those things are provided by cloud. The same, let's say, failing it on our on-premises hardware, maybe we need to roll back, we need to deploy it again, we need to set up maybe a different infrastructure. All those things come into picture. That is where what cloud is trying to solve us. Yes, it is also running at a full scale. I totally understand. It is not the first time I see all such kind of things on many platforms. Sometimes the instance classes are not available, or it is running at a full capacity. But try to understand how big it is running. It is not 100 or 200 or 2000. Maybe tens of thousands of cores are running at simultaneously at a scale, and how these providers are managing. And it's my own personal experience from last 5 6 year of my journey. These kind of things are trying to solve, improve more quickly than setting up our own data centers and providing, getting a scale. Simple, maybe 5 years back we don't have access to the network of 25 gbps, but nowadays 100 gbps is easy. Again, guys, there is some kind of issue going. Maybe it may happen, it is something with my account also. I'm not sure, but as it is giving the error about the deployment failed, something is going wrong. So maybe we can try, and I suggest you can try also from your side. It will be always helpful to learn from the each other, and you can put in your comment if I am missing something. But I believe I fill all those options, and I tried it maybe in the morning while preparing this demo, and right now it is giving some kind of issue. So guys, this is the thing which I would like to cover, and that's all from my side for today. And how does masking work? Is it per user or what? So yes, it is something that you can define the masking for overall. That is where it was giving the option of that exclude your admins or some users we can define and we can put all those things. And as well as, let's say we have created our user at a SQL level basis, we can define for them also that whether they will be able to access those tables or not. Everything is possible. And from the portal, let me see whether if that is ready or not. Let me quickly see if it is ready. I will surely love to show this. So still it's not ready. Maybe it will take some time, but yes, it is possible to put it at every user, or exclude those user, or put it on all possible. And maybe one admin can be out of that in the exclusion, so that that admin will know about like what are the tables and designs and everything is there. So, all right, guys, that's all for today. And feel free to tune in tomorrow, as well as feel free to share. Really appreciate your support. And from the last 5 days, it is really awesome. It is giving me a chance to learn and, relearn the thing and quickly check the concepts or the new features and how I can try to share and deliver. It is always a two-way learning, and I always appreciate, and this thing is motivating me to do more. And I obviously planning to do more sessions, maybe in next couple of weeks, about couple of other cloud as well as the certification preparation. So please subscribe to my channel, share in your circle, ask your friends to subscribe also. If any question, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I will try my best always to respond back the answers whatever my understanding and I have experience. So that's all for today, guys. See you tomorrow. Take care.